Majak, welcome to the project.
Thanks for having me.
I love what you were told about Australia, that the streets were made of glass and milk came out of the taps. God, you must have been disappointed when you got here.
Yeah, it's, looking back now, I mean, it didn't have any logic to it. So it was really hard to use my imagination when I was in Egypt, what Australia would be like. But yeah, just really the freedom, to be honest, safety.
As the first Sudanese-born player in the AFL, Majak's become both a role model and an unofficial spokesperson for the African community. His impoverished childhood was all but forgotten as he launched himself into a career with North Melbourne.
First shot at goal, and let's hope the first of many.
All right, let's go to 2018. You've just had the season of your life, and then it gets to the off-season and your life unravels. Why?
I guess I was naive in a way that I just played through a whole season with a broken foot. I thought I was invincible. There were some issues and stuff, but I just didn't give them my full attention that they deserve. And that really caught up with me and almost cost me my life.
Majak, will you be fighting the charges?
One of the things that probably caused your mental health to spiral out of control was your court case. It was a rape allegation and you have to go to court to fight it and you're acquitted.
Yeah.
And then you're straight back at training. In hindsight, can you explain the impact that going through something like that had on you?
Yeah, it's really tough. It's one of those things where I had to go to court and, fight for my freedom and try to clear my name, but also having to stand up there in court and explain what had happened in front of my mum. I think it was really heartbreaking. I always told people that I was innocent, but I think just the way I was portrayed as a monster in the media, yeah, I'm glad the right decision was made. It gave me a lot of faith in people. So.
In his book, Majak reveals that his jump from the Bolte Bridge wasn't his first suicide attempt. There had been another just a few weeks earlier.
Yeah, and I had a couple of attempts that night with some sleeping tablets, and then the next morning I just had to ring my partner at the time, two of my friends, and then the club doctor, and just admit to them that I think this is what I'm going through, and I think to utter those words out, like I think I've got depression, and that was really hard. I think to finally just accept, I think this is what it is.
What's really fascinating about that first suicide attempt is that you tell your partner, you tell the club doctor, you tell your two best mates, you don't tell your family. Why didn't you do that?
I just didn't know how they would take it.
Do you reckon if you'd spoken to your family and especially your parents after that first attempt, you never would have got to the Bolte Bridge?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that must be a hell of a realisation.
It's a costly realisation, and I think that's why I'm grateful I'm on this side of it.
All right, let's talk about the Bolte Bridge, because I know you've not spoken about this publicly before. Take us to the lead up to that event.
I had an argument with my partner at the time, and we were going through some really tough time, both of us. And I was intoxicated in the night before. I had a first attempt, that didn't work, and by that stage I was quite a mess. It's tough to talk about.
So you park your car near the edge of the bridge, you get out. How quickly do you decide that you're jumping?
Yeah, I didn't even give myself an opportunity to stand and think, is this what I want to do? The rail is quite high, and yeah, I ran and jumped and grabbed on, and I remember when I first jumped, I didn't, I regret it straight away. Yeah, hit the water, it's quite a loud impact. It was very loud.
So as you're falling, you reach back up to try to grab onto the bar that's there and you miss, obviously. So you no longer want to go through with this, but there is not a single thing you can do. You are in total free fall and you cannot change your mind.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's scary that that you're about to end your life and there's no coming back from that. So that was one of the most powerful things that got me through my rehab and through my healing process was there's no coming back if I try to attempt to end my life again. I'm not around and there's no longer I, so I had to think about that pretty hard and what that meant.
How well do you remember the moment of impact?
Yeah, quite vividly. Struggled to sleep for a long time, just reliving that moment in my mind. Helped me go to sleep and I just couldn't. Every time I'd close my eyes, just remember that moment.
In his death-defying fall, Majak broke his hips and pelvis. The footy star was determined he'd play again, but first he had to learn to walk.
Standing much. And all the way onto your hands. Okay, nothing on the right side.
Look, it is a miracle. I'm really lucky and very grateful for what God has done. I believe in God, but I'm not as religious as I used to be, but it's just something I can't explain.
Join with me, congratulating the big fella.
As if all this wasn't enough, your girlfriend at the time was pregnant.
Yeah.
How much of a motivation was the fact that you were about to become a father in getting you through the recovery?
I was terrified that how would I go raising a child with mental health issues. I'm so lucky to be around and get to enjoy fatherhood. And I think just realising that sometimes that, you know, when he's here, we're just chilling out and he's watching Peppa Pig, and he just comes and sits on my lap, and it's priceless.
All right, so you made it. Not only do you recover from your injuries, not only are you walking again, not only are you playing footy again, but you get back in the AFL again. And it's that fantastic moment, one of the moments of probably the decade, frankly. You play your first game against Adelaide and you kick that goal. How did it feel the moment that ball left your boot?
His return game, struck it pretty well. Get around him. It's an amazing story. It's a human triumph story, that's what it is.
Yeah, it was amazing. I think I slept that night. I just kept on reliving that moment. Yeah.
Look, I know from reading it was a hard book for you to write. I'm sure this was a hard conversation for you to have. I think it's a really important one. Madge, I can't thank you enough for speaking to us.
No worries. Thank you.
That's proper wow.
Yeah.
Waleed, amazingly done by Majak. Incredible.
To say that out loud.
Even to write the book, yeah.
Even to write it.
But also because I know now that there's a lot of that there's certain school of thought you shouldn't speak about things like suicide attempts and stuff, but how forensic his detail was and the instant when he said he regretted it, that's very powerful.
Which is also not uncommon. That's the thing about it.
No.
His story's already saved lives. This book, I think, will save lives. And there's so much more to his story as well. I highly recommend it. It's available in bookstores now. If you find yourself needing support, Lifeline 13 11 14 or visit lifeline.org.au.
With so much content online, it's sometimes hard to keep up with it all. And let's face it, who has the time? The Project YouTube has you covered with the stories that matter. Hit subscribe for a daily list of the news that you need to know.